bring Mike Will out. People going crazy. They didn't expect him. This is where it goes south, Ty. I did not know Mike Will was a talker. So before we having this fluid conversation with me and 3 producers, and now you add one more person, I asked Mike Will one question. He talks for 15 minutes.
There we go. We rocking.
Oh man. So we had an episode where you had asked me about if there was like any people or any movements I was really into at the time. I kind of had a brain freeze. And I've been thinking about it. And I gotta shout out one person in particular because I've been going out to Oakland a bunch recently. And I was out in Oakland in March. And I ran into this kid named Overcast.
Oh,
Overcast is a real cool rapper out there. And they kind
interesting
of got like a
name.
group. Got Overcast, you got Magier, you got Michael Sneed. They've been running around a bit, but I just kept running into this kid Overcast. Like he opened for Mavi on tour, so I went to the Mavi show. He gave me a ride back to my spot.
Oh shit.
I went to the park during like Easter Sunday. I'm walking up, I hear somebody say, "Yo, you right in front of me again." Then there's a show at the band camp spot down the street. Who's opening? Overcast. So I'm like, "Hey man, like let's talk to me, man. Like we ain't really chopped it up. So let me just ask you some questions." So he starts telling me a bit about his story, and a big moment for him was he went with Mavi on tour to open for Jack Harlow as Mavi's DJ. He doesn't DJ, but he's known Mavi for years. Mavi's like, "Yo, my boy, come on tour with me." Ty, one of the tour stops, either the charger for the laptop stops working or he loses it. Something happened with the charger. And he's telling Mavi like, "Yo, bro, like," well, he told me the show starts and the laptop's on like 7%. It dies in the middle of the show. So he's telling Mavi freestyle.
Oh shit.
So he just starts freestyling. And people are going crazy. So then Mavi runs over to him. He was like, "All right, what's next?" And he was like, "It's not cutting back on. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna be a boombox. You just rap." So he goes out there, starts boomboxing. Mavi starts rapping. He said that's the craziest reaction they got all tour. And it was because of the spontaneous decision to not like fold in this
panic.
moment. Yeah, he didn't panic. And I was telling him, I said, when you're on stage now, I noticed that you command the stage with a presence that says, "I'm supposed to be here." He was like, "Well, yo, I made all the mistakes. I made all the mistakes you can make to not be here, and I'm still here." And he just says he's so comfortable pivoting. And I wanted to ask you about pivoting. Or do you have a story in mind where you was like, "Yeah, this shit went south, but we were able to recover because we did not panic"?
I think when you are looking to build a business and you're bootstrapping, there's always pivoting that's happening. Like there's always like, we only got $1,000 to shoot this video. Oh shit, we only got $500 to shoot this video. Dang, I don't think we got no money. Right?
Yeah.
So you always got to pivot in those different aspects. So a lot of times you have to pivot like in your life with people that you have in your life. Or you might have a friend that you lean on for certain things. And they've been so guaranteed that you just automatically just think that they're going to be there. And they might be having a day where they ain't that present. But you still need that kind of, shit, that kind of support. So you might have to pivot to your mom, you might have to pivot to your brother, you know what I'm saying? So I think like pivoting is like, should be synonymous with being resourceful. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of people that's resourceful, and there's a lot of people that can't pivot.
Why is that though? Why do you think people have a hard time pivoting?
Training, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like there's a level of mental training that happens unconsciously that, that humans just naturally fall into. And it's because we're naturally these behaviors of habit. We're creatures of habit.
Right.
So like if we wake up every day and we're supposed to get a ride to school on the bus every day. And one day we wake up and we miss the bus. We got to know, You know what? Didn't even realize my school was right down the street
Right.
because I'm so used to just getting on the bus, daydreaming, and I'm at school.
Right.
Right?
You're not prepared for it not to be there.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. Like I multitask like everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I multitask
Multi-task.
every fucking body, right?
Uh,
And that's not always the because multitasking came from that's programming
mm-hmm.
language.
Yeah.
It's a computer like humans are
Yeah.
not supposed to be multitasking.
No, I remember having a conversation with someone once about how it's an older guy. He was like, before computers, people didn't multitask.
No.
He said, as information got faster, as people were doing more. But not everyone is programmed to be good at multitasking
No.
because it's not as natural.
Nobody's good at it.
Yeah.
Everybody that said they're good at multitasking, they're just fucking lying.
Yeah.
Like I can trick you to think I'm good at it
Right.
because everybody else is so terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
I got you.
But nobody's purely really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
When you start thinking about what the result you can get when you focus on one thing at a time.
Right.
When you measure them, it's not like that's the difference between like Donald Trump and maybe somebody that, or not Donald Trump, but Warren Buffett, who he don't multitask. He's like, I know investing, that's all I know.
That's my one thing.
That's my thing. I don't give a fuck. Versus one of your uncles you probably got. Next thing you know, one day he a mechanic, next day the nigga carpenter, next day he got he's managing an artist. Like, bro, what do you really do?
Yeah.
So I think there's a certain service that you give to yourself when you do focus on one thing, and your brain kind of see the depths
of that thing
or that lane. You know what I'm saying?
But do you feel like we live in a time now where people have to have more than one skill?
No, not if they hone in on that one skill. Now, if your one skill is, I don't know, really, it doesn't matter what your one skill is. It's about how great are you at that one skill.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you have a high level of functionality and efficiency, right? That means that you can live in a lot of places.
Absolutely.
You don't have to think about trying to be efficient and try to be somebody that know how to make money. Somebody that know how to make money can look at you like, we need to be a team.
Because you're efficient.
Because you're efficient. You can tell me how I need to spend this money I'm making.
Right.
Or how to be more efficient with my spending. You know what I'm saying? Or people that are just naturally gifted at coloring, right? Or naturally gifted at counting numbers, but a lot of the things that we speak about pertaining to multitasking or developing your skill set is all about time. Now, if you're a person that's been multitasking with two things that you love since you was 9 years old, you're gonna have a different result at 29 versus somebody who's multitasking two things that one of them they really like, the other thing, right? So that in that place that it can coexist. Like I'm naturally passionate about business, but I'm also really passionate about sports. So, and I've been like that since I was like 14, 15. So for me to multitask business and sports can feel like one thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like it's one center.
It can be, but then somebody can argue business don't have to be dealing with sports. You're making it about sports.
Yeah, that was a decision you made.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah. But when did you decide that sports would be a part of your business life?
I've always decided that.
Yeah.
When I was gonna do it was the thing. When was I gonna do it? But I've always that was something that was decided when I was like 10.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it was just like when it was gonna happen and how and what that would look like was more so the unseen thing.
But even when you pivoted from being a football player, you still knew that wherever your life was going, sports would be a part of the business.
1,000%. 1,000%.
That's some serious foresight. Or I guess just belief in what you like and knowing that you will be able to incorporate that into your life.
one of the things that I can really applaud myself on is that I never did nothing that I wasn't passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I worked at Target, I stopped working at it. I turned down other jobs because I was passionate about what Target allowed me to do towards my passion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
I worked for a lot of black women, Spanish women that ran Target. And I would go in there with ideas like, yo, I want to do a sign, like album signing. And they'll be like, okay, well, if you could get them in here, we don't have to spend no money then. Well, have at it. Oh shit, I bet. Or if I had to go travel doing blackout dates, like
Mm-hmm.
they supported that. So I became passionate about not about that role, not more so working at Target, but that's when I first started reading. If I had not worked at Target, I would have never started reading the way I did.
Really.
Because I used to work in the electronics department. So I would
Mm-hmm.
always be putting the books together. If I didn't see those books so much and being a thinker like I was, like it would have never came to me like, maybe I should buy a book. I'm looking at them. Mind you, sometimes I work Target 6 days a week
Oh wow.
and I'm working in electronics.
Mm-hmm.
And every day I have to go and fix the books, make sure that they're like in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing books every day. Then it started being loud because the book by Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers. My wealthy told me about the book. My partner Troy told me about the book. And then I just so happened to be at work and the book just looking at me.
Then just dead looking at
I
you.
was like, bro, I gotta read this book.
That was the first one you grabbed that kind of set you off to be a reader.
Nah, that ain't the first one. The first one was called um, it was something about how your brain works. So like 7 habits of how your brain works. It was written
Mm-hmm.
by a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That was that was a pastor actually.
Really.
I can't remember the name of the book, but I get the name of it. I think I probably still got it at my crib.
Okay. But so it just seemed like you always had an interest in how the mind works, how to optimize your performance as a worker and just as a person in general.
Man, listen, what I when I was young, when I was growing up,
Mm-hmm.
when I had a job, I would think about how I can make more money at the job. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't always the legal thinking from that perspective,
Mm-hmm.
right? Once I decided that, man, I ain't gonna do no more legal things at these establishments.
Mm-hmm.
Now I started to figure out how can I make the best of this experience
Mm-hmm.
that can actually serve where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why Target was like a thing. Cause I would like read books, you know what I'm saying? I would like take calls. Um, I would like figure out what music, who controls the music in here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we did it when I did the damn signing for Kandi. She put her first album out solo. We cleared the whole end cap, took all of Taylor Swift albums off the end cap and put all Candies on there. Bro, I know for a fact that we wasn't supposed to be doing that. A record label paid for those end caps.
You just moved them.
Yeah, we just moved the whole shit. Put it back the next day or some shit.
Of course, but
Yeah. But she sold like 1,000, 2,000 CDs that day
oh, that's
through
hard.
that signing, right?
Shit, moving 1,000 CDs in a day.
100%.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh shit, this shit crazy. So I remember calling Ethiopia when I worked at Target, being like, hey, man, Keri Hilson ain't got no albums on our front end cap. Her being like, what? Who is this? I was like, I work at Target. I'm looking at the end cap right now. And Keri Hilson, she sold out. Why y'all ain't seen nothing? It's been like a month. She was like, hold on. She got a phone with me. Bro, I said maybe 4 days. Keri Hilson had some albums. The motherfucking albums got sent to that
Man,
fucking
that's
stuff.
hard.
You know what I'm saying? I would call like Jamie Foxx when Jamie Foxx album was out. Cause I would look at who is coming in town.
Yeah.
Cause at this time, niggas weren't selling albums.
No.
Unless they was actually signing the motherfuckers coming in.
Yeah.
So this is probably like 2009.
That's how do we work. Yeah, almost like 2010.
Yeah, 2009, 2010. And I was like, Jamie Foxx was one of the ones I was trying to get. I was trying to get Miguel. I remember talking to Miguel people. I was like, hey man, Miguel back here by this big boulder, nigga. I can't even see his album. Y'all need to come do a signing so you can put on the end cap for the day. You know what I'm saying? But the only one that really bit was with Kandi.
It's Kandi.
Yeah.
And you saw the results of that.
1000%.
But what made you take the initiative to call them? Like,
Because once I seen the Kandi shit work, I was like, but this how I'm gonna meet people.
Yeah.
Now I'm the nigga that do the signings at Target.
And you was already managing producers at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. So you was like, I'm about to get in. I'm about to get into business.
That shit
through Target.
It's a multi-million-dollar goddamn store. And literally my boss was a black woman named Rhonda. She worked at Amazon now. She was like,
oh wow.
Yeah, she said, well, as long as I don't gotta spend no money.
That was her thing,
this
right?
is perfect.
Do you apply that to your business today? I know there's the difference between CDs and storefronts, but that mentality.
Yes, don't let me in your house, bruh. I'm gonna figure out how to get there and run it up. Why? I need in. Don't introduce me to nobody if you don't want me to run it up. I'm constantly like, how can I better position myself to be in a better position to help others?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, I'm helping the artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, I need to sell no albums. This shit is like, Kenny, your album, you ain't even on the front end cap.
And you just moved 2,000 albums.
So we made it so that I ain't gonna cap, it's probably like more like 1,000.
Well,
You know
look,
what I'm saying?
it's close enough.
Yeah. So like, if that many, I'm probably doing a little cap. But the overall goal was she sold more albums that day
Right.
in her entire time being in Target.
Right.
In that particular store.
Right.
And we made it so that the artists, the fans, they had to go and buy the album. And then they brought the receipt, showed that they bought the album, and then she was signed.
Okay. So you had to show that you bought the album.
Yeah.
So these are hard sales.
1000%.
Can't be mad at hard sales.
You know what I'm saying?
You got notebooks right here.
Yeah.
What's this right here?
So yeah, so this is one of my notebooks for like NFL certification I'm studying for.
Uh-huh.
So it's broken down into things I need to remember for the test.
Okay.
And then it's the second half of the book is the 2023 NFL PA test specification table. So this basically tells you how many numbers of like the questions. So it's 60 questions in this test. It's telling you what part of the collection, what part these test questions, where they're gonna come from. So I'm writing it out myself and answering, like pretty much building my whole like study guide, because I can take this book in the test with me because it's an open book.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the one beneath it?
Well, these right here is the collective bargaining agreements.
Okay.
So this is the NFL.
They're kind of thick.
Yeah, it's 800 pages.
Each?
Well, no, total. Well, it's more like, so this one is 439 pages, but it's front and back. So if you do, if you do front and back, you're like, really this is more like 800 pages. But when you really look at everything, it's like 600 pages.
Yeah. Still.
So you can take this into the test too.
Okay.
So this like these items.
But again, even for an open book test, you got 600 pages. You need to know what's in there.
Oh yeah, you can't just go in that thing thinking just because it's an open notebook.
Right.
You can be that bit fucked up. You'll get 3 hours.
Yeah.
3 hours, 60 questions, 3 minutes a question.
How long you been studying?
I started studying loosely in December, but it's been like on and off. Like over the past 2 weeks, it's been more intense.
Do you have any particular methods for making sure that you are absorbing the information?
My typical way on studying is that I write everything that I read. You know what I'm saying? So I got flashcards that I've already written all the different definitions of all the terms that they use. I've already written them down, created flashcards out of those. I'm reading I got test questions that I'm walking through these seminars and I'm answering as they come to me. I'm in a class right now. That's a 8-week course that week by week we go over different parts of the CBA. So my learning is a consumer, but I do like an obsessed aspect of it.
Obsessively, right? And how do you balance the obsessive learning with handling and managing your businesses?
Time management.
Mm,
Yeah, time management is a thing. So me knowing that, okay, I got these meetings in the day.
mhm,
Technically, while I'm here, I should be studying at 7 o'clock in the morning to like 9.
mhm,
Then I'll handle all of the business, and then we're gonna shoot fuck you money towards the end of the day.
mhm,
But last night I was up to like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock doing the studying.
mhm.
So it just I started a little bit later.
Right. But it's all about finding the time.
2 hours a day, man.
You feeling prepared?
Almost. I feel about 25% prepared.
Yeah.
Hoping I can get to about 75% prepared, 80% prepared um, by the end of this month.
Were you an anxious test taker
Uh,
early in school?
I was terrible at taking tests.
Yeah.
I had to take the SAT. I took the SAT 6 times
Six
and did not
times?
qualify. And I took the ACT twice and I qualified the second time for my scholarship.
The 6 times? What was up with SATs?
Bro, that shit just was fucking me up, bro. Like,
Yeah.
just, I had a grade point average. My grade point average was 3.7.
Yeah.
I mean, 3.3. All I had to get was a 17. I couldn't get a 17.
Mm.
I took study classes, all type of shit for that bullshit. I could not break that 710. So I had to take the ACT
To get you over.
and get me over. I had to get a 16 on that.
Mhm.
I barely scraped across that motherfucker.
So you probably just thinking, once I'm done with tests, I ain't taking no more tests.
Yeah, I ain't really like tests. Well, you start getting into processes, you start getting into, higher level of education. You start getting into the formalities of education. Comes with tests,
Mhm.
or it comes with some level of critical thinking that you got to do.
And the best thing to do is to find a method that works for you to
1000%.
take the information in.
1000%. You got to find that. If not, then you fuck.
So today is kind of a day, right?
Yeah,
You our first guest this season.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting because the last time we did a guest was Baby Tate at Clark Atlanta doing Homecoming. And Amazon sponsored it because of our deal with Amazon at the time. Now I told Amazon, I was like, yo, y'all give me some more money. We'll start bringing some guests on this shit. Um, but
And the episode did well. By the way.
yeah, the episode did
I
well.
was very impressed by the results of that episode. So kind of let us know, because we had a great first season with me and you talking.
Yep.
The Baby Take came out of the opportunity.
Yep.
So we got a chance to kind of see what a guest would feel like. But again, we're here, me and you.
Yep.
This time, we'll be having more guests this season.
Yes, definitely more guests. And the format of it is like we want to be able to like sit down, chop it up, talk about different things, but then started getting into like who the guest is, kind of give a little color on the guest. But then when the guests get here, what I'm saying, they'll be able to shine more light on what they do, where they from, what fuck you money means to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's the question of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like if a nigga get on like, you know, I don't know, the Steve Harvey show or some shit. Nigga like, what fuck you money mean to you? You know what I'm saying? Or if niggas get invited to Earn Your Leisure or $1 Million Run for Game. It's like, nigga, what fuck you money means to you? I think that's a real strong dialogue to have around content. You know what I'm saying? Because it has a very aggressive, direct directive, but then it makes it a lot more fluent because the individuals are going about living that type of lifestyle. And that's what kind of like points into a certain direction. You know what I'm saying? So my partner Samson, he's the director of competition for the Confederation of American Football, which us in the States, because we're Americans in soccer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I met him in a program that I was in at Harvard. We ended up flying on the same flight to Miami. He'd never been to Miami before. He came through the first night, ate, literally from the airport. He just came straight here. We ate, hung out for a few hours. And I was like, we thinking about guests. I'm like, this nigga travel more than me. And soccer is such a global thing that's growing at a pace that's nuts. So I was like, yo, I asked him, he's like, yeah, man, like, that's crazy. In the Harvard program, 2 people already committed to the interviews. So Samson and then my man, Marquell, who he left UCF to start his own boutique agency to help with combat fighters.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna probably do him in LA doing on BT week or whatever. But yeah, so Samson is gonna be the guest for the night. We try to get him in earlier, but you know, the heat playing. So he going to the game, and we're trying to make it smooth. So we're gonna get with him later on, but we want to spend the early part of the session. You know what I'm saying? Just chopping it up.
So we come back tonight. With director of competition. I think that's an amazing title.
That's a fucking. I feel like I'm gonna get some merch. It's gonna be some fuck you merch, some fuck you money merch. On the back, it's gonna be like director of competition.
It sounds like a award.
Yeah, 1000%.
I think it's cool to even understand that there's roles and positions and jobs that people have that you might have never heard of before.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be, I think, an episode extremely enlightening and eye-opening for people. I can't wait to.
Yeah, I like this format because I feel like I want to start going like kidnapping niggas. Like, yo, this is what we're about to do. Boom. And we pull up at a job. You know what I'm saying? We pull up at they know we're coming though. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. We might need to do a fuck you money kidnap episode where we pull up on a nigga with the van, unmarked van, start pulling niggas in. I think we can start doing them type of episodes. Yeah, 1000%. Try to make, because I'm very hell bent on not being a podcaster.
Yes.
Like, so whatever I can do
to not be a podcaster.
To not be a podcaster. No, this is not a podcast. This is an ignorant conversation about wellness. Exactly. Yes, this is exactly what this is. Fuck you, money. An ignorant conversation about wellness. Yeah, 1000%. All right, so we told y'all earlier that we was gonna have a guest. This is our first guest for our second season of Fuck You Money. I'm personally super excited about it because our first guest is an international guest. And so it gives you an opportunity to hear a story from someone who's figuring out life in their own pace. And so, you know, I'll let my man introduce himself. In his fire ass title for the organization he works for.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. It's good. I feel blessed to be the first guest, international guest. Exactly. So it's good.
Double box.
So making history.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Exactly. Yeah. So my name is Samson Adamu, originally from Nigeria. I live in Egypt. I've lived in a few countries. I lived in Paris for maybe 6 years. I lived in England as well.
AKA, I'm a hitman.
I lived in England. Mm-hmm. I lived in Milan as well, in Italy. I lived in Switzerland. A little bit in the States. I live in Egypt. Yeah. And really all just trying to pursue the things that I wanted to do in life. Mm-hmm. And this is back since 2003, just been moving about, learning. When I did my undergrad in Paris, and then throughout the studies and everything has been building up until what I'm doing now today, which I'm going to get to that. What I'm doing today is what I've always wanted to do all my life. You know?
That's amazing.
So it doesn't feel like I've walked a day. I know it's like a cliche, people say that, but really it doesn't feel like I've walked a day because everything has just been building up to that. So anyway, my official title is I'm a Director of Tournaments and Events at the Confederation of African Football. And Confederation of African Football is basically the governing body for football, soccer, as you call it here. Soccer. The real football.
The real football.
Yeah. So for the governing body for soccer in Africa. So basically what we do is we regulate football on the continent, and every football match competition that is organized on the continental level in Africa, we are the ones that are organizing it. So we basically have about 13 different competitions, national team competitions and club competitions. Mm-hmm. And the national team competition is basically like take it like the World Cup, but from Africa context. You know? Yeah. So we've got national teams, we've got senior national teams, we've got women competition, we've got youth competition, and you also have club competition as well, beach soccer, futsal. So in a year, we organize more than 1,000 games, competitions, and then I also have different events. So because we have the awards as well, which is pretty big. The awards for the African Player of the Year, male and female, and other events like political event like the General Assembly, because we have members. It's also like a political organization. So I'm responsible for all of that. But again, like I said, every day is all what I wanted to do. So my story is kind of just being from Nigeria. It's an English-speaking country. Yeah. And I knew I wanted to work in an international context. So the best thing to do to speak French, because Africa is majorly divided, English-speaking and French-speaking. And most English-speaking part, they don't speak French. Mm-hmm. So for me to be able to learn French, I wanted to study education. And a lot of people from Nigeria either go to study, if they study in abroad, they either come to the States or they go to England. So I decided to go to France because I wanted to learn French and study at the same time. So that's about where. So it was in the context of wanting to work in international business. That's why I went there. But then I started studying computer science, but it was very quick that I knew I didn't have any future in computer science. I didn't have any future in computer science. So I added a second major because it was an American University of Paris. So you can it has the American system. So you can choose your major and choose your classes and all of that. So I added international business as a second major. Mm-hmm. So, after that, I wanted to get into sports because I played football. Yeah. Okay. Not professionally, but I wanted to be a professional player. And then I had to choose between playing football or studying. So once I was studying, I was like, if I finish my school, if I finish education, what do I want to do? I want to do something in the context of what I love to do, which is football. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to get to it. So I did my internship, end of the program, studies in a sports marketing agency in Paris. I did that. I enjoyed it. I got some opportunity, and then I created my own company just to kind of see what I can do in sports. But nothing was going on at the time because I just finished uni, and then I was looking for the right studies, and I found a master's program called the FIFA Masters, which was actually pretty amazing. It's called the FIFA Masters, but it's not focused only on football. It's on every kind of sports that you have. Mm-hmm. And it's humanities management and law of sports in there, and they choose between 25 to 30 students from around the world to do. It's a 1-year program, so you spend time in just different countries in England and Italy and Switzerland. So the humanities of sports part is in England. So you partner with the best university in England there that teaches humanity of sports and the humanity context of sports. It's basically what the history of sports and the different sports, so the cricket and then the rest of them. So that's about the humanities in De Montfort University in Leicester. And then the management of sports is in Bocconi University in Milan. And Bocconi University is kind of like the world of sport business, the best university in Europe. So that's where it was. And in Switzerland, because you have the headquarters of most of the sporting federation in Switzerland. So you get ice hockey, boxing, and all the football and all the rest. Even UEFA, the headquarters is in Switzerland. So they kind of have the headquarters of most of the sports governing body in Switzerland. So that's why it made sense. So that's when I studied that. And afterwards, I started to get into the field and the industry because the people that took the course, you have similar interests. Mm-hmm. So I started to do some gigs for FIFA, and then I went back home to Nigeria, created a big event So it was entertaining events, but it's a beach soccer competition. So it's a beach soccer competition that I created from when I moved back to Nigeria after studying. But then
was there a market for beach soccer at that time?
Actually, there was no market for beach soccer. So this was the interesting part. So after my studies, right, when I finished my master's, I went to Brazil for a bit because my roommate was in university, was Brazilian. And I wanted to take a break. So I decided to go to Brazil. And just to have a good time, I was finishing uni, wanted to relax a bit. But then I was going to move back to Nigeria, and I thought, what am I going to do with my career? Because that was the time I was going to make a decision about what I'm going to do going forward, because I'm done with my undergrad, I'm done with my uni, I've never really worked anywhere, so what am I going to do? So, true story, I was on the beach in Brazil. Right? True story, right? I was like, what is it that I can do in a country like Nigeria that is not in traditional football, because traditional football, soccer as we call it, the industry didn't really exist like that. You had the national team and the national federation where you could work, and it's kind of like government oriented, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get into business because that's what I studied, in the business of football, which is completely difficult to do that because there's no big industry like that. So I thought, what exactly can I do? Okay, still staying in the same light of football, and you have beach soccer, because Brazil, beach soccer is kind of big in Brazil. That's where they play beach soccer. Like, okay, beach soccer looks interesting because every time on the beach you get people playing beach soccer, which is pretty amazing.
Right.
And I was thinking about this on the beach. I'm like, beach soccer is good, but beach soccer would be nice in Nigeria. When is the best time to do beach soccer in Nigeria? Because you have rainy season or whatever. Actually, December could be a good time because that's the dry season we have in Nigeria. What else do Nigerians really like? And happens around that time of the year. Like Africans, Nigerians, we love to have a good time. We love to party. We love to basically dance. That's why you can see the Afrobeat right now.
Yes, sir.
It's from the biggest artists from Afrobeat. They're all from Nigeria. Because this is what it is. There's no surprise that it's coming from there because this is the culture. This is the energy they get from Nigeria. This is what Nigerians love to do. Like, okay, this music. We love to go to concerts, and December time is really, really an amazing time. There's no better place to be than to be in Nigeria than in December, because the whole month is almost like Carnival that you have in Brazil. Just the whole month, there's so much going on. So, okay, concert could be nice. And we also have a lot of fashion shows as well in Nigeria, and there's a lot of just parties and events in Nigeria at the time. And then in my university, when I did my master's, I know that you're competing for the same thing, right? Because sports is entertainment at the end of the day. You know, it's the same thing you're competing with the same pockets for either going to the movie theaters, you're going to watch a concert, you're going to a fashion show. It's the same amount that you're going to pay for a football match that you're going to pay to go watch a movie. So basically, that's what I thought about it. Like, why don't I put all of this thing under one roof rather than getting people to have divided events, just put everything under one roof. So I created this concept of having a beach soccer tournament, beach soccer event, get international team, but at the same time, in the same arena, to have a fashion show, to have a music concert, and to have like an after party. Like, okay, so I started to work on the idea for over a year. And afterwards, I just tried to create a look for sponsorship and all that, which took a lot of time. And the first edition that happened, it was actually quite nice because I didn't have anything to show them because it didn't exist in Nigeria. So I took pictures and videos from different events around the world just to present to the different sponsors. And like, yeah, but this happened in Miami, but this is Miami, this is not Nigeria, this is not Lagos. And this happened in Spain, but this is not Nigeria. Wow. But then after doing the first event, it was so nice, and I guarantee it was much better than the ones actually that happened in Miami and other places. And the sponsor saw it as like, actually, this is amazing because it was a completely new concept for Nigeria. Beach soccer didn't exist in the sport, but we had a national team, and I managed to bring good national teams as well, England national team, beach soccer because, of course, the name England is big in that region, Nigeria, and Brazil as well, which it is a big nation. And beach soccer is big, but beach soccer is easily manageable because you have a team of 12 people. You don't have like maybe 30-something people that you need to fly around.
Okay.
And I had a big artist as well. The first edition, actually, these artists were not as big then, but you had Wizkid, you had Burna Boy, you had Davido. They all came for the concert to perform.
What year was this?
This was 2011.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, 2011. So all the guys were there. They came to perform. We had also a fashion show right there on the beach. Actually, Burna Boy was one of the artists that walked out on the fashion show as well as one of the models for one of the designers. So it was still easy back then.
So how did you know Burna Boy and Wizkid? How did you know them like that early?
So, I mean, in Nigeria, they've been grinding. They've been grinding for a while. They're just not as big, but they were there and trying to make sure they were not the hottest then, but they were still trying to, go and do it, making some clouds then. And I had friends from university that in the music business, so I told them, and they found it exciting, the project exciting as well. So they kind of supported as well and brought the guys there to perform. And it was just amazing. The artists, everyone loved it. Even the beach soccer itself was kind of different. It was football on the sand, and there was like a DJ playing music at the same time. It's different from the traditional football that people do. There was a lot happening at the halftime and between breaks. It's kind of what we saw in the NBA finals today. They had cheerleaders also dancing in between the breaks. So there was a lot going on, and it was very unusual for people. Like in football, this is something that's completely different. So I struggled to get sponsors, but managed to get some sponsors, put in some money. I had people that supported as well. It was easy because of sort of the investment in the first edition. Of course, we lost money, but the sponsors also saw it. So the next year, it was much easier to get sponsorship. And I went on to do about 9 editions. And this doesn't happen at all in Nigeria, that an event of that magnitude is financed only from sponsorship. There's no government money in it, there's nothing like that. It was just pure sponsors because they were getting good value for it. Something that was different. And every year we kept on improving, which was pretty amazing. But yeah, after a while, until 2018. And then in the Confederation of African Football, they had new election, new president, and I kind of knew the president then because he was into beach soccer as well in his country. So when he got this position, it's like, yeah, dude, I know you very well. I know the policy. I know what you can do. I need you to come to CAF to head the football competitions in CAF. And I really was thinking about him, like, do I really want to live this life? Because I have one event that I do at the end of the year. It was generating good enough money for me to be comfortable, but for me to also own my time. I could do anything I wanted to do. I could travel. I was working as a consultant as well for CAF and the rest. So I was like, yes, it's a good position, but do I want to leave all of this? I'm at home. I've lived in different places. I really just don't want to leave. But then he was insistent, and then I actually didn't even want to still take it because I have to leave my home, go to live in Egypt. Like, I'm done with all of this.
Right.
I'm at home, everything. I own my time. I want to do the things I want to do. So eventually, I guess, I got people that I was close to that I spoke to about the offer. They said, they hear, but I can just take it because the position was such that if you wanted to change anything in football, right? If you want to change the rules, if you want to make things to really change, it's almost like you want to get into, you're complaining about your community, but there's an opportunity for you to get into politics, to make a change, and you don't do it. You're going to keep complaining about it, and there's nothing else that could be done. So it was more of that. Like, you love football, you complain about a lot of things in football. Now you're there, you get a position to be on the driving seat in the continent in the football.
And you earned that position.
So yes, I would say in a humble way, I would say I earned it because I didn't think about it. I didn't really have it in mind, even when it came, even though it was a really attractive position. It wasn't something that I was super excited about then because I'm like, yes, I'm doing what I want to do right now in terms of business, football, and good money.
You know what's interesting about the concept of earning something? When you can almost guarantee you earn something, it's when somebody presents something to you that is great, and you still like, I don't know, man.
Yes,
like,
that's true. That's true.
I like what I'm doing right now. This don't really, gonna make me like move. And, and that's when you can really know, because the people that's coming, and then when they double down, when they don't give up, that's when I kind of earned this. You know what I'm saying?
True.
It might be for me.
You know what I'm saying?
I guess it still comes down to that fuck you money. Like
yes, it do.
It's there, but it's as much as it's attractive, everyone thinks it's fantastic, but to you personally, it's just like, it's okay. Do I really need it? Or do I really need it?
Do I want to talk to more people on my day-to-day basis?
Yeah, exactly.
1,000%.
Yeah,
I love that story, man. I mean,
that's a great story.
That's a great goddamn story. Right?
But it worked out fine, because now that I'm in that position, I really can implement the changes I want to see, the things I want to see, the things I think that the continent is something, because the continent is massive. Nigeria alone is 200 million people. Egypt is over 100 million people. So the continent football is like a religion. Yeah. Football is the number one sport. It's number 2, number 3, number 4. Before all the sports comes in. Man. So that's the only thing that is like a religion for people, So that's what really matters, When we have matches, some matches, football matches, you can get stadium 80,000, it's full easily, and there may be more people outside. So this is something that's crazy, something that moves people. That's what they say on the continent. And it's true that only 2 things matter to people that they get very emotional about, and things that bring peace and brings unity. It's football first before even religion, because religion sometimes divides people. When you have Christians, you have Muslims, you have the rest. The only thing that brings people together, that makes them forget their differences and everything, is really just football. It's that big for people.
You want to know what's so crazy? When I didn't really understand his role when we met. He started talking about football, and I was like, man, what is this going to take to blow up the star in Africa so they don't leave?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody go to Europe because of the amount of money they can make.
Right.
But what is it going to take? I want to be a part of that. Like, I don't want to, like, it's cool to go to Europe and get the bag, but like, just like you get beach ball, fashion show / concert, and then next thing you running the league. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? 10 years in, you know what I mean? You don't put your time in. So now I'm like, how to build those superstars. And we talked about it briefly, like how to build those superstars so that even the European artists and the European athletes want to come to Africa because of the market ability of those artists now. You know what I'm saying? Or those athletes now.
Okay. No, but I mean, the thing is that you see it kind of happening already in music, right? It's safe to say that right now, Afrobeat is the biggest music genre right now in the world.
It's just growing.
It's growing.
It's
the fastest growing, and it's getting really popular now.
Yes,
Afrobeat. So
globally too, not just in like small sectors. This is a global phenomenon.
It's a global phenomenon, but it's been there, and previously they've been trying to sing the way that the rest of the world sings. Like, they try to adapt to the American culture and American way of music. It didn't work for a long time. Remember, even Davido, he moved to America after some time. He was living here, and they tried to make music, and that's what most of them do. There's even Craig David as well. A lot of artists, they moved to America because they're trying to break into the American market, because it's the biggest market.
Yeah.
The only time things really changed for them is when they decided, listen, actually, let's own our own identity. Let's make music the same way that we want. Let's make music in the African way.
Yeah.
This is when it started to change, and it became very global, because they actually have the local content to it. It's basically they own it, and you try to, take advantage of your own identity and your own things that you have. So this is when it started to become global. So I think in sports, it has to be kind of the same way that it is for it to go into that. Because at the end of the day, you still got the talent there. Most of the players in Europe, right? I mean, at the time, at some point, it was African players that was dominating the European leagues. You had like Drogba, you had Samuel Eto'o, and all these big players that were playing for the big European teams, but they're mostly from Africa. A lot of the players are from African origin. You saw the French national team as well that goes far. Most of the players have African origin, so the talent is there in Africa. But as soon as we try to own our things the same way that music is done, I think this is when we're going to have starting to see things change. There's a lot of confidence that's coming now because of what the guys are doing. I mean, a few days ago, Burna Boy packed out an arena in London. There was like 80,000 people. It's not been done. You have people like Beyonce. They're the ones that pack out those arenas.
Yes, sir.
That's the same thing Beyonce did in London.
Yo, Wizkid did his festival.
Yeah.
Like that shit, it's really his show. Yeah. But that shit's like a festival in Nigeria. It's like 80,000 motherfuckers, man. Shit like Michael Jackson, man.
Yeah, so the guys decided to do things.
I'm glad you bring up Afrobeats because what ended up happening with Afrobeats is that they became themselves, and with the help of more exposure of artists in the US being like, I fuck with this. I'm gonna co-sign this. So I'm looking at football in Africa the same way. It's like, how can we use our marketability, our influence, our ability to create lifestyle? Because that's what we're great at.
Yeah, exactly.
In the US, we're great at creating lifestyle.
Exactly.
So it's like bring those top players and figure out some level of marketing and lifestyle development and be like, yeah, no, we're not doing that for you motherfuckers over there in Europe. We're doing it for the continent. And the continent only. You know what I'm saying?
I think it requires a collective effort.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it has to require really a big collective effort for everyone to really come together, people in that industry to come together and trying to create, because now you have pockets of individual, but then it's a team sport, right? And it has to be like a strong community because you have, excuse me, you have the millionaires there, you have the billionaires there in Africa that need they can make it work, but then everyone is just really kind of busy in their own space. It takes one or two leaders just to come and so it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna happen, but it will take a bit of time in sports. But I mean, when we spoke about that attitude on when you have like the fuck you money and you say you created the value itself, right?
Yes, sir.
So it does take a lot of sacrifice.
Yes, sir.
It does take a massive amount of sacrifice to make that kind of thing work for you. So one good example that I think it is one biggest lesson that I learned in terms of my own career right now is, so when I was looking for sponsorship, right, this is true story, when I was looking for sponsorship for Copa Lagos for the first event, that's what the event is called, it's called Copa Lagos. So I got introduced to an oil company because, I mean, Nigeria is oil rich state, right? They are usually the ones that have the money. So I was going to meet with the managing director of the company. He asked me to come see him, and to get there, his office is on kind of like an island. It's an island, so you need to take the boat. You need to take a boat to get there. So the first day, true story, the first day that I went to meet him, I think I got to the office maybe around 11 in the morning. And I waited until maybe like 8 p.m. in the waiting room. And I didn't see him. He was in his office busy, but I couldn't see him because he was really busy. So I went. And when he was leaving the office, like, oh yeah, so you're still here? Like, yeah, I'm still here. Like, okay, come see me in about a week. He's traveling. I should come back and see him in a week. I'm like, okay. And I was there sitting just thinking like, really, do I really need this? Like, how much money could you have to make people wait for you for that?
You waited all day.
I waited all day. But the
thing
is that
to come back in a week.
I couldn't leave because I was on an island. I needed a boat. I needed a boat.
No Uber.
No Uber, nothing. Exactly. So he asked me to come back in a week. So after a week, I just thought like, no, I'm not going to go back. But the whole week passed, nothing happened for me. I wasn't making any traction.
Right,
So
okay.
what do I have? Nothing's really happened. So what do I have to do? I'm going to just go back to the island, but I'm going to go prepared. So I went with my laptop and like, okay, if I have to wait, at least I have my laptop. It's just going to be like my office and I'm going to be working from there. So fair enough.
My office is the island too.
Exactly. So I went there. I went a bit earlier because I trying to be smart and like, okay, at least when he gets to the office, he's going to see. So I went early enough. I got there about 8:30 in the morning. And so when he came to the office, he saw me in the waiting room. He's like, okay, yeah, cool. We're going to see. I will see you in a bit. True story, that from 8:30 in the morning, this was till 11:30 p.m. that I was waiting. I was waiting.
You was working. You weren't waiting.
And I didn't see him again. So the third time he told me to come now in 1 month and whatnot, so I should come back and see him. I was like, no, that's not possible. Because I was on the phone with people that I knew. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, how much money can you have? How much arrogance do you have to? So after a month, same thing. No traction, nothing. I was looking for sponsorship. What do I have to lose? I'm going to go. So I went. Again, I waited. And this time I saw him, right? And he's like, oh, yeah. What was it again you wanted to speak to me about and all of this? And I started to speak to him about this. And true story, he was there. And as I was speaking to him, he fell asleep. He fell asleep. So I kind of just waited in the office and I was pausing, looking at this guy sleeping.
I'm stressed
and
out.
He'd wake up and I would try to continue the conversation from where I stopped, fall asleep again. And he said, actually, you know what? I would invest in you. He told me I will invest in you. The project sounds very interesting, but I will invest in you because you've basically shown a lot of patience and everything.
Resilience.
And I kid you not, this was the first time I've seen that kind of money. He asked his PA to give me part of the money for the sponsorship I was asking, and he gave me $200,000 cash. $200,000.
This
cash.
motherfucker. Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you. I don't have a story that I waited that long, but I do have a similar story about when you waiting and inside. You're like, man, this motherfucker, man.
Exactly. That's what I couldn't.
This motherfucker.
You got a patient soul. Like, you are a patient person.
Oh, yeah.
To wait. To go back the third time, I think I'm done the second one time personally.
Yeah.
Third time.
I was done. But the thing is that I was looking for money to build my project that I wanted to do so bad.
Right.
I think it was just the passion for the project.
Yeah.
Like
That kept you
And
going.
which project was this?
This was the beach soccer.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
that's
is
why.
the first
That's why
one.
he didn't want to. That's why he didn't want to go take that job. He had his pocket. He had the plug. I would have took the job. You know, like, man, my partner, I could just go wait at the island if I want to get another 200,000. 4 weeks
In cash.
How many weeks? 3 weeks? Three times.
Three times.
Every month
Almost
for
2
200,000.
months. Almost a 2 month.
That 3
period.
months period.
3 months for 200,000. Oh yeah.
You know what?
But that wasn't even the whole amount I was looking for. That was just part of it because
Yeah.
like, this is how much it costs.
But that's a confidence booster, I'm sure.
No, it was a massive confidence booster for me. And just because I had that money, it was easier for me to get a bit more money because I had a Pepsi now that's sponsored because they're like, okay, with or without you, the event is going to happen. It just needed to happen, not at a loss. But then the thing is that the story is that I don't even know that I had it in me to be that patient. Really, I didn't really know that I had it in me. I didn't think that I could be that patient, but it might just be just the circumstances that because it went 3 months. But in that 3 months, I didn't make traction. Couldn't even secure a meeting with any sponsor. So what do I have to do? I have a prospect as an entrepreneur trying to do. Not much was going to happen. So the best shot you have, you might as well just
We gotta go.
just take it. And I had this project that I wanted to do that was driving me as an entrepreneur. It's a baby that I saw it happening. I wanted it to happen. So,
How'd you meet him?
so was a friend of my dad's that knew him because I was speaking about the project every time. And he's like,
Right.
oh, yeah, I know this guy that might be able to sponsor the event, and he introduced me to him. And then he booked a meeting, and then I went. So this was basically how I got to meet the guy.
We was talking about this a couple days ago, where patience is the quickest way to wealth.
Is the quickest way to wealth. Really, that is well said. I don't think any other thing. I think the problem we have today, and we talk about the younger generation, is patience is what they don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Patience is what, like the Gen Zs and those, patience is what they do not
I think social media robbed them of patience.
Yeah.
Social media robbed them of patience, and they don't even know they got robbed. They got robbed. They don't even know they got robbed. You know what I'm saying?
Coming, right? Got your
They
pockets
got
picked
robbed.
and you didn't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got everything that's just fast-paced right now, and really the quickest way to success, the quickest way for you to get anything that you want, especially if you're driven by something. If you want things to change in your life, the only thing that's you have to do, you just got to be patient.
So it's interesting that you say that, right? So I have a few stories about patience.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about in the music business, all of my peers, they always say, you got patience. You always take the long route.
Exactly.
Like you always take the long route, right? And something that's related to your story is that when we started building the business with Brent, I was trying to get a record deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're gonna get a record deal, we're gonna get this shit hot.
Right.
We're gonna get a record deal. Like everybody else.
Like everybody else.
I'm not trying to remake the wheel. Right?
Exactly.
But then when I got to the prize that we're working on, I remember like being pulled out of the studio by Joey IE. He was like, yo, I want to do this deal. I'll give you $250,000 advance, $300,000 recording budget, and let's do it. I'm like, give me 3 artists. I want a label deal. He was like, nah, bullshit you not. I had $500 to my name. And I said, nah, I ain't doing that. Then he said, well, you know, if you put it out and it don't really go the way you want it to go, then, you know, that might scare labels away. So I was like, give a fuck. I'm finna put this shit out, right? I remember calling Brent. No, I didn't call him. We lived together at that point. I was like, bro, I just turned down $250,000. He like, for real? He's like, that's a lot of money. I said, I know, man. But I started seeing the deals. And the deals were so predatory, in my opinion. It forced me to be patient. So it's almost like how you said, I sat around for a couple of weeks, and it's like, I ain't got no traction. I'm going to go back to the island.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We went to so many deals, and I was just like, I just cannot sign this. And I said, fuck it, we just gonna have it. And once I got one pot of money and another pot of money, and I started realizing I can do payments on this, fuck this.
Game changer.
Then the patience just started to be a part of the business building process, right? To the point where, you know, Brent's new deal with our new partners, United Master, he wanted to do that deal. I still was like, fuck that. Like, we can just keep doing it this way. But he like, no, nigga, I'm tired of spending my money. I want somebody else to spend the money so I can take my money and put it in something else. And I bullshit you not. You know, me, I'm always gonna keep it a buck. I've never made this much money in my life. But I was fighting against it still because I'm like, shit, I'm gonna just take the long route. Because I don't want nobody to stop me, slow me down, tell me I can't do this. But in actuality, all of those years of me teaching Brent about business, he taught me a lesson. And that I still was fighting against it. Like, man, fuck that. I ain't go to none of the meetings. Fuck that. You go to the meetings. I ain't finna go dress up with them motherfuckers and lie, watch two motherfuckers lie to each other, because I don't want to do that shit. And what it ended up being is that he made the better business decision Because I just was like, I was just like, when they offered you that deal, and you like, man, I don't know, man. I'm like, I got my own staff, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't gotta like, and that decision that he spearheaded, I helped once. I was like, okay, well, if you want to do it this way, and this is not gonna affect what we've been building, I'll help you. You know what I'm saying? And through him going through that process and me assisting whenever he needed that help, it exploded both of our business separately. So we can go and do whatever we want to do while still being in business on the things that we started. And that was a lesson that I learned from somebody who wasn't as business savvy as me, but I had got comfortable in the long route. Ooh. And I ain't gonna say that I was in the wrong, but I just took the money that I made. I'm still in the long route. Like I still took the long route when I got the money.
Well, let me ask you this, Ty. How do you, after going through that, do you feel like you're just trying to avoid just being comfortable at all? Always keeping your eyes open for change?
When you become it, it's hard. When you become the entrepreneur that understands you taking the long route, it's hard. You are it now. It's like a glass trying to be a robot. Like a glass, like you become it, and it takes something to jolt you out of it. Like a politician called him to run a soccer league. That's not normal. You know what I'm saying?
That is not normal. No.
He bugged him. You know what I'm saying?
He still didn't jump at it either, right? Like this uncommon thing happened, you're still like,
no.
Maybe
and
not.
The worst motherfuckers to negotiate with is motherfuckers that don't care. Literally, I would call Brent. I'll be like, hey, listen, they ain't giving what I think should be fair. So I'm gonna just start a deal for 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And to the fuck these lawyers. I'm tired of talking to the lawyer. Stout gonna have to call me. And I would just not respond to the lawyer for 3 weeks. And Stout would call me like, hey man, what's going on? I'd be like, man, I would wait for you to call me, man. That damn lawyer, man. I don't trust that lawyer. He done sold some masters. That was my whole thing when I was talking to Stout. I don't give a fuck who that lawyer did to deal with. They done sold some masters in their day. So I don't trust them. And I did that like 3 times throughout the process. Once Brent said, I want to do it with these 2 people. And we started doing all of the conversation. It was 2 black men. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll let you finalize and decide, and I'll start them terms. But when he narrowed it down to who he wanted to do, he decided. It took us another 6 weeks to close the deal because I was like, man, I literally gave Brent money. I was like, he go $1 million because I'm literally not finna sign this deal right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's the same thing we were talking about. It's the patience. Patience. Because once you're in it, you're into it, you have to do. Once you live in it, so that's the thing. But I guess it's the same thing for most people in the industry. And people that we don't know, that we see, it looks easy, but if they tell you the story, and I think the people that manage to stay on top, they're still doing it, they have some incredible stories, which I'm sure comes down to some level of patience, which they did have. Even in patience in terms of the decision they're making right now might not be the best of what people think that it is, but they know why they're making that decision. 100%. They have to be patient to get something that it's bigger than it is, and it pays off eventually when people are saying that, whatnot. Even the same people we've been talking about, the artists themselves, like the Whiskey, the Burna Boy, the rest, they stayed on top of the game. They've been grinding for a long time. They've been patient.
Decade plus,
and someone like Burna Boy, he can be the most arrogant artist right now. He would be understandable because since like maybe 2006, he's been consistent with his kind of music, He's been making the same kind of music and he hasn't paid off for that long. He hasn't changed his style at all. Right now, he's just living the dream of what he's sold, what he's invested in, because he didn't change at all. And back then, no one really gave him a chance like that. And it's the same thing. So he's doing the same thing. He's just mastered the craft of what he's 100%. Been doing for so long. And that's why he's on top of the world right now. He deserves to be on top right now. Absolutely. Because he's been sowing the seed for a very long time, and he can reap it right now. He can.
That's what patience does, though.
Yeah.
Patience give you master a craft more than you realize that you've mastered it. Until when you start performing and you start moving around in the meetings and having these conversations, you start realizing like, man, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Man, I appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you very much.
Being our first international guest and our first guest for season 2. It's a pleasure, and coming to give us some real game about some fuck you money.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting none of these stories, so it was great. You know what I'm saying?
I really think we're gonna remember you for a very long time.
It's
not just the insight, just the stories and the transparency.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say thank you so much for joining us, and man, I hope you can come back.
Definitely come back.
Fuck you money coming to Africa.
Definitely.
We'll do a cultural exchange.
Absolutely. This
I'm
was
gonna come
needed.
intern.
Intern. No, but thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. It's been great chatting with you guys. It's actually quite amazing. I mean, saying all of the stories, I didn't know this is what was going to come out of it, but the thing just reminded me about, listen, in life, I mean, have a bit of patience. It goes a long way.
It
goes a long way. But yeah, man, it's been amazing. It's been great. You guys have been awesome, been excellent. The show itself is going to be, I think I'm going to be hooked now, and I'll basically let a lot of people know that, listen, if you want to get the story, you want to get the truth, this is where where you come from. So it's like, fuck your money. When you get it, this is only one place for you to get that really good insight that gives you that fuck your money. So, but
we have to go to
thank you guys very much.
Nigeria, fuck your money live.